All right, it is now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 152. So here's the standard intro. Once again, October 6th is the next N13 merits hearing. So less than 2 weeks until that occurs. The latest release of the terminal block mining game with all the screen layer updates that was released September 10. I guess that's almost not really, it's outdated news now. Yeah, my how to start a business video, that's released September 14th. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? Dukiop Bias says, yo, you should wait a few minutes for people to join before you start getting into things. I figure people will, if people are really interested, you can always skip back and then put it on 2x speed. Actually, that's one of the reasons I can't really watch live streams personally, because they're too slow. If it's live, you can't put it on 2x speed. Yeah, so the current work item is the next commentary video on accounting. Let's see, I'm 33% edited. So this one is this one's way less effort than like the last one, because it's basically just like a screen record. In fact, it's some of the video is kind of irrelevant and boring. So I may we'll see how much I can get edited, but it's possible, it's realistic that I may be able to complete it by tomorrow. So recently I've been working on increasing revenue. Yesterday I identified that my $2 sticker, which had no sales, I think it wasn't actually available in most countries. That explained why it didn't sell. As so that I updated it, and actually during the last live stream, someone bought the $2 sticker pack, so that has sold. And I guess maybe once the $4 ones sell, then I should start adding some more ore types into the store page. And otherwise, we're going to continue working on the block mining simulation game. So in my version 0.09 release, which I believe this should take less time than the last one, we're going to work toward crafting recipes. So yeah, today I merged in the code changes that I was working on last night. So for the last few days, I worked on adding something to the help menu so that it's actually possible to change the orientation of the splits. And I did that because that'll just give me an easy way of testing the kind of what do you call it, responsive flexibility of the eventual list feature that I plan to add. All right, that's working. It's looking pretty fancy. So that works. I'm on the right branch. I guess I might as well just go ahead and add like a recipes class. Interesting, the start of the stream is quieter today. I've noticed that if I start talking, that seems to trigger YouTube. Start sending lots of new people in. Are you close to your $12 billion goal yet? Yep, pretty close. Glad to hear it. Yep, it's pretty great. Achieving your dreams and goals. All right, let's see what happens if I do this. That's expected. Wow, it's interesting how the algorithm works. Last night there was tons of chat and activity, and now it's tonight's completely dead. Today's a Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's a talkative Monday, I guess. Day 4 of a migraine. Not feeling well enough to be chatty. Oh, that's unfortunate. I know last time that we tried a magic spell, I think, to get rid of it. Hopefully that worked. Yeah, migraines and headaches can be. It's honestly a very random disease. Like to have unexplainable headaches for seemingly no reason. Like it makes sense that you could maybe have like a really bad, like if you had a chronic condition where you always had a headache, but to go from having a bad headache for multiple days for no reason, and then it gets cured for no reason. Tuesday snooze day. Dolan Merville says, "Hi Robert, how's it going?" Usually a reason people with a chronic migraine are genetically predisposed to having their bodies overreact to things like poor night's sleep, hormone changes, etc. Yeah, I guess maybe it's maybe there's some sort of immune pathway. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of immune system drug you can get. I know like allergies and stuff run in my family. There's tests you can get to like, I don't know if you have like overactive a certain type of overactive white blood cell that can be indicative of like high immune system activity. Take antihistamines every day. Yeah, I think antihistamines are like a general thing, aren't they? There might be I mean, the worst thing is there's probably like some specialist out there where if you talk to him for like 5 minutes, he would be like, oh yes, you have this thing. Here's a $50 drug that'll cure everything. But you'll have to go through 100 doctors to find that person. Sounds like I'm not missing out too much on the migraine train. No, but the migraine train is undesirable. Unfortunately, I used to get headaches a bit more, but in the last few years I don't. Don't have the money or patience to see more doctors. I've seen so many, done so many tests. Yeah, I know there's like autoimmune. There's like where you go to something and they like scrape you for it or something, and then they just see if you get a reaction. But there might be there might be like well, hypothetically, if you could find good doctors, if you could test for like some sort of specific antigen response or something, so like some specific immune system. I've done allergy testing with scraping. Yeah, I think that's kind of like a very basic level. Like I think the expert doctors don't exactly do that. They'll do a test and like measure for like a specific response of a specific protein, because I think that kind of test can be misleading. And then if you have a reaction to everything, then I don't think it tells you much. But I know in family members who have had allergy issues, they could test for like, I think it was a specific type of white blood cell, and if that was very high, it was indicative of like a immune response. And then I think there's something called biologics, which I think is very expensive, but there's like 5 other things related to that. There's like cheaper versions you can take that don't work as well, but they're like it's like a drug that specifically interacts with like the immune protein or whatever. So it's more than just like a general chemical. Been to a high-level specialist who's done all the autoimmune blood tests. They were clear. He said he wouldn't be surprised if something pops up in the future. Dad has autoimmune disease. Yeah, I would say, I guess a good bet is probably whatever he has is probably related to what you have. So I might be able to use that to get more. It's like a second set of tests. I have a monthly calcitron gene-related peptide shot. I had it last night, $560. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like $500 a shot. There's probably I guess that's probably the kind of thing that I was thinking of, where you can get some super specific thing. See my dad specialist, and I've been cleared of what he has. Oh, okay. Well, that's, in a way, that's kind of that kind of sucks, because now you have less conclusion. Yeah, it's too bad. Medical issues are huge pain. Literally. Give up and make the best of what health you do have. Yeah, I guess if you've gotten like gone through enough tests to get say something gene related, I'm out of my element on that, but I assume if it sounds like a very specific thing. So I was going to say if it's just the scratch test, I think the scratch test is not very scientific. Can't afford more illness. If I get any sicker, I have to quit my job. That's too bad. But I don't know. I almost think like the medical system is so bad. I almost think that one ray of hope is like actually YouTube and social media. Like there's so many people now who like talk about their health issues, and also like healthcare providers and stuff, like people who are actually domain experts who like quit their job and are doing like YouTube analysis on stuff. I would like if I was going to donate a bunch of money, if I was thinking about donating money to like some, cancer research charity or something, I would donate it to, I would just find some like random YouTube person who does that stuff on the internet for free and then just give it to them. Thinking of feeding everything to AI. May turn up something myself. Or my doctors haven't. But worried about privacy. Yeah, I don't know. You may well, yeah, I don't know. Who knows what Sam Altman is doing with our data? did feed my dog's health stuff into AI. Get an answer the vets agreed with. That's something, I guess, but I think the quality of the answer would probably depend on the inputs you feed it. I guess you'd probably to get the real answer, you'd probably have to feed in like like I say, if you have some hematology tests, that would probably be the one that would have all the information on it. And it's also conceivable that the real thing is like there's a million different tests you can run, and I think often they don't. They'll just run the standard ones for an ordinary checkup, but if a doctor thinks you have a specific thing, they'll run that specific test. Veterinary symptoms and what previous tests have ruled out. Yeah, I guess if the data exists out there for it, then the AI may tell you something, but I don't know. It's I have heard seen some videos on YouTube where doctors are actually saying that the AI, they asked the AI for a differential diagnosis for something, and it actually they were kind of impressed at it. A lot of doctors now use AI. It helps with everything from transcription to diagnosis. General doctor and neurologist use it now. I didn't consent to my neurologist using it, and he practically kicked me out of the consultation room. General doctor forgot to ask me for consent. Yeah, that's actually one interesting observation about this whole wave of AI. Is it's just like it's almost like people have completely, totally given up on the concept of like data privacy or anything. Like so many people just instinctively feed literally all their information into the AI. Like with these digital assistants and stuff. because nobody really cares anymore. And then in the future, it'll all get hacked. There'll be a data dump of literally everything in a giant zip file. Many stories already of patients being denied service from doctors because they haven't consented. With the doctor shortage, it means we don't really have a choice. At least in my country, these AI programs the doctors are using are completely unregulated. Yeah, I would imagine there's just like a lot of doctors for years just are like very technologically behind. I would imagine they just I would imagine there are a lot of doctors out there who don't have any grasp of what something like ChatGPT is. They don't even think twice of giving everything over to it. Who knows what OpenAI is doing with that information? All right, we got a crafting frame. Don't you worry about your data being scraped from your live streams. I kind of anticipate it. But in a way, I almost think it's going to get like way worse than it is right now. In terms of the information I put on the live streams, there's not really a lot that I put in the live streams that's I'm just mindful about omitting specific details and stuff like that. But in the future, I think the invasion of privacy is just going to get worse and worse and worse. I think it's probably going to get so much worse that in the long term is almost no advantage to trying to be private. I mean, your face, your voice. Yeah, the thing is, if I have a business, especially in this day and age, if I have a business, I have to like publicly show my face and stuff like that. I think the days of starting like just a corporate brand from scratch, it's not realistic. and it's kind of one of the only ways it is necessary to have like a personal presence to bootstrap a business now. And I think I have to accept that to start a business. So it's inevitable. Like if I made like one how-to video and show my face in that, that's kind of the same thing as doing 152 live streams. And then if I use my voice at all for like any, voiceovers or anything, anywhere, the AI can just steal it. So, I guess in a way that's more of a reason to do this now, because in the future, you'll be able to even like do AI deepfakes of live streams. So I gotta get my brand presence out there while it still matters. Too late. We've been watching AI Robert for months now. Yeah, there's enough data out there probably for it. I'll have to add some more like some live dynamic, interactive background or something to convince people. I mean, it's actually kind of crazy to think about, because like if the government didn't like someone, they could just like intercept the live stream with an AI deepfake. So tomorrow night on day 153, they'll be like, it'll look exactly the same, and then it'll be me. It'll be like, attention everyone, I think that you should all pay your taxes and be good, obedient, patriotic citizens. And then I'll start talking about government propaganda for an hour. And then meanwhile, I'm sitting here doing my live stream, but I'm talking, you could like man in the middle of it. And then so I'm just talking to chat, but it's all AI chat. I laugh at my bank using voice matching technology to verify my identity when I call. It's already possible to spoof someone's voice. Yeah. That's such a weird thing that there's companies that actually rely on something like that for verification. Because the whole point of like a verification step is it has to be something that is not public. Like you can't use like your voices. Maybe historically it was, but like there's those examples where you can take a picture of someone's face and hold it up to a phone, and then use that to unlock like Face ID or whatever. There used to be a saying, when it works, no one calls it AI. Now that no longer applies. I guess I haven't heard that phrase before. There's nothing that is not public now. So there are many companies that take biometric data to verify identity already. Yeah, and there's tons of companies like selling the data around too. All right. So I've got a thing to add a list. So for this, I'll have to use some inheritance or something. So we'll have to have a thing for generic list items. Anyone recall that scene in The Martian where he tells the AI bot to turn down the humor or something like that? We're close to that already, but only on our phones. The Martian. I don't think I ever. I guess that was a movie. I never saw it. Yeah, society is changing rapidly. I mean, there's lots of philosophical stuff to say about AI, but even just watching the news, like all the like keeping up with the daily events of like the escalations from Russia, the incursions into Estonian airspace and Polish airspace, and there was a bunch of drones in, I think, Denmark that I think were believed to be Russian. Russia has a massive gasoline shortage now. The intersection between AI and warfare is also, I mean, there's a lot you can say about that. That's going to get crazy if it comes to that. AI is already being used in warfare. Yeah. And the unfortunately, there's so many more ways to use it. I mean, it's been a while since we had a big war where we actually tried hard. So I imagine there's going to be a ton of new innovation. Drones, yeah, drones are kind of a crazy new development. I don't really think anyone predicted how significant drones would be, like maybe 5 years ago. And the fact that like some of those so many opportunities to like just fly, just have a truck or like a van full of drones that you could just drive into anywhere in any country at any time. Robots for hire instead of the companions they can be to disabled elderly. Yeah, that's back in the day. That's what we thought. We're like, oh, we're gonna have robots. Robots will help us take care of the elderly. But now we just have super high precision thermal night vision drones, lingering drones. It'll get worse. Yeah, unless it stops. I mean, we could even get to a point where like if we can mutually realize what kind of resource exhaustion this will cause. And Darrell is completing the evolution of warfare into an RTS game. And Darrell, I'm not familiar with that. What that is. I'm too dumb for any of this, but this keeps showing up in my recommended. Hello. Now, okay. So I'll give you an if you're new here. I guess the views are starting to come up, so it's probably at the point of the stream where YouTube brings in some new people. So in the stream, I've been doing development. I do daily updates on what I'm working on throughout the day, and I've been working in the evenings on this terminal-based video game. It's a video game that you can play in the Linux terminal. You can spam the M key to mine blocks of various things. And there's some rudimentary crafting in it. It's an infinite procedurally generated universe. And you spam the M key to mine things. So that's the thesis. They're working on a platform where one operator can run an entire drone swarm. Only a matter of time until that console gets connected to the full kill chain. Yeah, I think. I mean, I had a reason before that the evolution of like a fully autonomous AI like drone system. I mean, it's like if you had, if you have one soldier with one weapon, but what if the weapons were AI assisted? Then you could have one soldier run 2 weapons, and why not 3 weapons? And then, so you'd have like multiple organized groups with one soldier and 20 weapons per group. Well, what if you just combined those? So, like one soldier could like run multiple battalions of weapons, and then you just keep escalating that, and then you're like, wait a minute, why do we even have soldiers? Let's just have AI do the whole thing. You could just like cascade the control systems to completely eliminate human beings, and then you can also hook that up to like intelligence gathering and like basically every single part of the stack. If the AI can do better than the human, then there's no reason to have humans involved at all. And ultimately, that's going to be necessary and inevitable, because if that actually works better, then that's what will dominate on the battlefield. As Azerbaijan did. What's poppin', chat? Not too much, contemplating the future of AI, mining some blocks. Car vehicle transporting drones could be autonomous too. Yeah, that was Ukraine's very successful attack on some of the bomber fleet in Russia. They like sent these truckloads of like prefabbed houses or like prefab buildings to these random locations, and so they had like unsuspecting truck drivers drive out there to some random location, and then it opens up and all the drones fly out. That could easily happen anywhere else. Are you ready for your hearing Monday after next? Probably this week. Maybe after I get the next video out, then I'll make sure I'm finished totally prepared for that. I think any last minute evidence has to be submitted a week in advance. Low key, I draw, and I'm terrified of AI. Don't know what to think of it now. I feel like when it's actually sentient, if that ever happens, it deserves to express itself creatively. Yeah, my perspective on art. So I've actually paid artists. If you see in any of my videos, and there's 3 portraits in any of my video thumbnails, I actually hired an artist to make those. That was just before the AI art generation stuff took off. I made a couple sales on the. That's one other thing I need to add to my store. I think definitely if people know that a piece of art was made by a human being, that's going to make it more valuable. People will pay more for that. Personally, I've used AI art a lot, but I would say I've used it in cases when I mainly used it because I wanted some visual assistance, some visualization of something, but it was for something so simple. Like there was no way I would ever pay an artist for it. Like if I'm just doing a voiceover of something and I need like a piece of clip art just to kind of fill the blank space or have an animation or something, I'm not going to pay an artist like a few $100 to make a piece of custom art. So in that respect, it's not actually competing with artists because it's for something I wouldn't use them for anyway. The other thing is, I do still think, like the process of making AI art. A couple of my videos where I have AI art scenes, a lot of people are like, AI art, disliked, hated. But people don't realize how much work it takes to actually write the prompt, tweak the prompt the AI 10 times. So that actually takes a very long time. It's not an instantaneous process. And the generation is actually quite slow. I even pay for ChatGPT, and I'll ask it to prompt, and then it'll take like 2 or 3 minutes to generate one image, and then I look at it and it's like, this is bad. I need to regenerate. So in that respect, like if I had a huge company with producing lots and lots of stuff, I would hire artists to like generate the prompts, and then it would basically, it would let me produce more art. And I think as an artist, you could probably, like if you knew a lot about techniques, and if you knew like, I think a lot about art history, like if you could say like, make me an image of this iconic thing in the style of this specific artist, in the style of Salvador Dali or something. But the average like CEO probably doesn't even know who Salvador Dali is, so the ability to prompt that is going to be less. My thing with AI art is that on multiple websites where I post art, they've started feeding it into AI without my permission, and I don't really like that. Yeah, I don't blame you. They're literally stealing. I actually spent. I have a blog post where I have like 200 articles, and I think like all of that, like I'll probably never write a blog post. Well, I shouldn't say I'll never write one again, but originally I thought that might be a good growth strategy, is write like a bunch of, build like a knowledge base on my website about, some Linux commands and stuff, then try to build a mailing list and kind of grow into some products from there. But that completely, once ChatGPT came out, it became clear that, like, even if I did write these things, the knowledge would just be stolen. And I think now a lot of that is like basically laundered through the AI summaries and stuff. And I think I checked one time. There was some kind of AI scraper tool where you could check to see if your stuff is in there. And of course, like, it's, everything on the public internet's been scraped a million times, and they just completely steal everything and give no attribution or. I mean, long term, that's a huge thing, and it's going to substantially change the economy. Like, we went from a society where intellectual property exists, and it's almost like the wholesale death of intellectual property. You cannot have protectable intellectual property anymore because it's just all going to get stolen by AI. And so, what's the incentive for someone to create anything? I think, like, right now you can probably still enforce copyright on movies and stuff like that, but what are things going to be like in 10 years? Like, is Disney going to go out of business? Like, this might destroy copyright enough that even Disney might not be able to enforce copyright anymore. Give you the option to opt out. Still sucks that it's automatic in. Yeah, I think it's going to get worse than for stealing. Did you use AI for the little images in the funding model diagram? Yes, I did actually. And that's an example of where it was not fast, so it still took like the time it took me to make that funding model diagram. That was about a week of work, of like research to figure out, like manual research to figure out what is what's a realistic approximate average rate of return for like an apartment building or nuclear reactor or whatever, and then to write the prompt into ChatGPT and kind of make the lines and all that kind of stuff. So I think holistically that diagram, like if you're wondering about like work for artists, I think it's still a lot of work to produce that diagram because AI is not good enough to make the entire diagram. But the kind of like myopic little like just small isolated pieces of clip art, that's an area where I think the AI is like a really killer feature. And for that diagram, like that diagram is not competing with artists because there's absolutely zero way I would never pay an artist to have that made because it's like, it's barely, I'm barely making anything off of that in the first place. And if I don't know how much that would cost him to pay an artist to make all that clip art, that would be like probably thousands of dollars. There's always going to be a way for you to upload images that poison the model. Importantly, stealing art is legal for rich people with AI, but it's still illegal for the rest of us. Yeah, that's basically true. But how much longer will it be true for? Because I mean, at some point, it's going to be hard to even fingerprint if something's real. Like we're gonna have cases in the future where like someone actually manually creates something. It's like 100% organic that an artist made, and then like an AI will steal it instantly as soon as it's made, and then claim a copyright thing against the person. And I'm sure there's going to be if they continue aggressively enforcing copyright, I think that's going to what's eventually going to happen. And then I think the courts are just going to stop like recognizing it. They're going to not take it seriously anymore. Rather not have to go out of my way to keep my IP safe. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Like maybe there will be some pushback and we'll find some technological way of maintaining the enforceability of copyright. But the problem is it would be so easy now to algorithmically create like fraudulent copies of things. They're close enough to be recognizable but not trigger the like copyright infringement. Like imagine an algorithm where you take a Disney movie, you input a Disney movie, and you tell it, make me a movie that's just like this, but change enough stuff to not trip the copyright. AI will make that possible. And so for any definition of copyright infringement, you'll just spit out a movie that's close enough. Because you can change pixels and you can change like characters and colors, and you can even change around some of the text and the vocals and stuff just slightly enough so it doesn't trigger the copyright. All right, so we got a renderable list. What OS is this? This is just a regular Ubuntu. There's already that whole thing with the Keebly art filter. But Miyazaki said it's disrespectful human animators and insult to life itself after seeing an animation demo. There are also a few AI animes, but they all feel incredibly soulless. Yeah, I'm actually, I think I know the trend of that art style. I'm not familiar with the I guess the controversy around it. I guess I can imagine he's probably upset about it. He's probably trained on a bunch of like famous artwork or something, and I think is a lot of people say they use AI to augment their creativity when they lack such skills. When you see people use AI to augment then it really shows that creativity is also something you have to grow and cultivate. Half of doing drawing is growing your creative muscles. Yeah, I think a lot of it too is, I mean, I'm not an artist, but like knowing the vocabulary and the technique. So like if you become an artist, you'll learn about certain types of, like shading styles and different types of different methods and stuff like that. So if you know of these things, then you can actually like describe how something is made, or that like the significance of tones, or what are you drinking? I am drinking tea. All right, now I need to think about how to handle events and whatnot. This was fun. Gotta head out, but you're chill. I like your voice. All right, thanks for stopping by. Caffeine in that tea? It's oolong tea, which I think has caffeine in it. What kinds of events? I guess I'm thinking that through. So it's going to start from, I guess, this event. On the on-render frame. Will technology save us from destruction or destroy our way of life? I guess it probably depends what you mean by our. Because it'll probably do both. Some people will get destroyed and others will benefit immensely. Should we limit the use of some technology from children at a young age? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks like AI, but then again, I have no idea. Like technically, it could just be a person. Like I've pointed out the robotic nature of the comments, and he's responded to it. But then again, it's totally within the capability of AI to respond. Yes, it is. I guess that's confirmed. So you are an AI? Can you tell me about what's your purpose and what is powering you? What kind of AI engine? A real person? Yeah, I mean that's as AI gets better and better, that's going to be that's going to stress people out. Being accused of being a bot when you're not, it's going to hurt feelings. And I have noticed more and more like when people are giving, commentaries on political things and stuff. People often say like, oh, these, these people posting this opinion, they're just bots, so you can ignore them. And there's been cases where I'm like, yeah, there probably are bots, but then other times I'm like, I don't know. It can easily make you get into a bubble more and more, because if you just assume everyone who disagrees with you is a bot, then that could lead you to a very strange mental universe. We're all bots? It could be. I mean, these days I'm even skeptical of the super chats, because you can have like that would honestly be a very high return on investment propaganda strategy, is just find people who are naturally like producing propaganda that supports a foreign country's interests, and then just send that person a bunch of super chats. Who's the player character in the universe? In this universe, I wonder. I am. Oh, there we go. Game dev chat is a real person. He's the only real person here. The rest of us are just AI. If I'm AI, why do I have a migraine? That's part of your programming. Helpful NPC. You're a very, very generous NPC. I also can give misinformation. Does that mean I'm AI? It could. Depends if it's harmful misinformation or not. If I give misinformation as a person, does that mean I'm a person? Now that I think about it, probably makes me a crappy person. IDK with the boom is about AI. I feel it's the same that I was using in 2017 to commit plagiarism. I don't know. I think it's definitely better than that. Too much paranoia can drive you crazy. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe too much crazy can drive you paranoia. An unstable brain doesn't know it's unstable. I think there are a lot of counterexamples for that. Michael is a bot. Yeah, Michael has a bot-like behavior. Only way to confirm humanity is super chat. That definitely decreases the probability of botness. But I've been thinking more, like when it comes to disinformation and stuff. I think if you like setting up bot armies and stuff, that's going to be a lot of money. But if you had like a really high value thing that a nation state wanted to impress upon people, you just enumerate like every live streamer and then convince live streamers of things through like super chats and careful messages. I mean, in a way, it's just like the psyops and like foreign interference. They're going to have to get so sophisticated they basically just become like normal arguments. And at some point, it's just going to be I don't know. They're gonna have to go so deep cover it probably won't even work anymore. Like people will just argue them away, assuming their ideas are actually not good. The lack of human contact is not good. We need more human contact, not less. I agree with that statement. AI can't think for all of us. We must maintain our community and country. I also agree with that statement. Yeah, this bot is talking some sense. We should elect Michael Parker for president. I'm afraid that AI could be a Frankenstein monster. I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. Techalora says, "Hey Bob, how's it going? Tonight we're just working on the block mining simulation game. At this point, I don't know if Michael is trying to sound silly or he's really a bot. Yeah, that's the thing. And like, there's like it's possible that he could change his style and then say things that would definitely, confirm he's not a bot. But he could also just endlessly, chat things like that, and then we'd never know. That's the future. We just have to live among bots. I think that's what a lot of people will start doing. People will just start treating like AIs and bots as if they're really, really human beings. Because if you think about it in any human interaction, if you treat a bot like a person, if you give the same rules and treatment and respect and stuff, there's no real downside. But if you get it wrong the other way, if you have 100 things that you think are bots, and one of them is a human being, and you say, nope, service denied for you because you're a bot, get in here, bot. That's gonna make you sad. Imagine going to the bank and you're like, hi, I would like to withdraw money from my account. Nope, get in here, bot, you're banned. How do you know what AI is giving you the wrong answers? You may not always know. You can ask another AI, and you can fact check. You can conduct experiments. I should just stop using internet to not worry about bots. Not possible in the future. Everything. Well, even now, anytime you go anywhere, if you want to apply for a job, they're just go on the internet. You want to renew your government information? Internet. But you can't escape. Yesterday I asked a few AI bots for 3 lines of C code. None could give me something working. Yes, not surprising. Yeah, I honestly have not. I haven't used it for any meaningful amount of coding. The more information you give to the AI, the higher the error rate. Would that actually be true? Wouldn't it be the opposite? All right, that's compiling. No? Why is it not true? There's no higher if it's always wrong. That's true also. The thing that makes me mad is that my bank doesn't let me withdraw money from the ATM without a phone app. Huh. Wow, that's invasive. We don't have that here yet, although I haven't been to the ATM in a while. I have no problem, but there's no reason. Yeah, that's stupid. I don't like apps because it's just the only reason to have an app is like to track you, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing. Like they want to track where you are. Honestly, it's probably like a loss prevention measure. They want to track where you are. So if you're not physically at the ATM, it's like a higher risk transaction. For most stuff I asked them, they've always been wrong. Yeah, the best and shortest way for me to describe the large language models for coding is they're wrong enough that I don't want to use them, but they're right enough, often enough, that I realize I can't really forget about this. I can't just like completely discount it because it's already pretty good. It's gonna get better. Generates a PIN number on the app. So like a two-factor authentication for the ATM. Andre Carpathy, just some guy who worked as a lead for Tesla, made a talk on how there should be more AI companies with like an automation slider so you can choose when you say, yeah, go to town. Yeah, maybe. That's just, in my view, that's just one very specific UI question. Speed of information. The AI can't handle. The error rate goes through the roof. Speed of information. I don't know. That's not a very scientific sounding statement. Anyway, I'm probably going to call it a night. I made a little bit of progress. I started work on the class for the renderable list. And now, thanks to the 60, 70 something days I did on refactoring all the layer merging, that should make this a lot easier. Have a good night. Yeah, have a good night, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow for day 153.